There are many stories in this book that tell of things that Mr. Ford did that people did not ever hear about. And people have written also their reminisce with Mr. Ford, how they helped the family or he helped get a job for somebody that was out of work. My grandfather's sister married a descendant or a son of Conrad Tenike, who was a pioneer of Dearborn. When he died, my grandfather's sister inherited the 400-acre Tenike farm. She farmed it for a while and had my grandfather act as manager of the farm in the summers. My grandfather had a real estate business and he would come out with the family and live in the old Tenike house, which was a gorgeous mansion, and ran the farm for his sister. When the time came when she felt she had to sell the farm, she naturally enlisted my grandfather to find a buyer. And at that time, Henry Ford was looking for a place to build his new home called Fairlane. My grandfather contacted Mr. Ford and they sat down and talked about it, and eventually they came to an agreement and the Fords bought the Tenike farm. At the conclusion of the deal, Mr. Ford asked my grandfather, "I would imagine you have built in a large commission for yourself in this sale." And my grandfather was very indignant. He said, "This is my sister. We do not do business like that in the family. And if you feel that way, I'd just as soon call the deal off right now." Mr. Ford respected integrity, and as a result, later he hired my grandfather as his personal real estate representative. So the family stayed on in the old Tenike mansion as Ford's house was being built. And my mother had been born on the farm, and it was about 11 and 12 when the mansion was started construction. So she got to know the Fords as they came out to visit the construction site. Mother always had a big New Year's party, and she invited the Fords every year, and some years they came, some years they didn't. And Mr. Ford was not a great fan of parties with lots of people, particularly, I was told, but we found ourselves eating lunch or dinner or whatever it was in my father's study. And that is how I came to do an interview, or not an interview, just a casual talking, like talking to my grandfather with Mr. Henry Ford.